A giant talking cat makes an appearance close to Elon Musk's residence. Yet when it shows up wounded on one particular evening, the billionaire promptly brings it to an animal shelter. He turns pale when the cat utters one shocking word. It was a humid evening in Boca Chica, Texas, and Elon Musk, who was normally engrossed in his demanding ventures, had decided to enjoy a rare moment of respite. The roads bordering his property stood serene, interrupted only by the gentle sway of palm fronds in the light breeze. As he strolled along the dusty path, a faint glow of something large and orange caught his attention in the waning sunlight. Narrowing his eyes in an effort to make sense of it, he soon realized what he was looking at and gasped in disbelief. By a scraggly clump of bushes lounged the most colossal cat he had ever witnessed. Initially, Elon Musk mistook it for a stray dog. It was that enormous, but as he neared, the creature's unmistakably feline face became evident. The fur, an intense ginger color, was slightly tangled, yet its mesmerizing green eyes seemed sharp and fixed on him with an almost unnerving curiosity, as though gauging his intentions before choosing whether to stay. Then the cat stretched its lanky body and yawned, its jaws revealing sharp, gleaming white teeth. It let out a meow, deep and eerie in its near-human tone, leaving Elon feeling mystified as he inclined his head, straining to comprehend the peculiar sound. It was completely unlike anything he had ever heard emanating from a cat. Before long, the colossal cat ambled off into the bushes, acting as though a cat vocalizing in a human-like way was entirely commonplace. That night, Elon Musk found himself wholly preoccupied by thoughts of that bizarre encounter. While he had never truly considered himself a cat person, there was something undeniably captivating about this particular feline, starting with its extraordinary size. He had glimpsed large felines only in nature documentaries, and it appeared unlike any ordinary domestic cat. He had once heard dogs howl in a way that resembled speech, but he had never encountered a cat making such convincing human-like sounds. Moreover, who owned it? He was certain that he had never seen such an unforgettable cat in the neighborhood before. The following evening, his inquisitiveness overcame him. He placed a bowl of tuna close to the location where he had first sighted the orange cat, half expecting it to remain untouched. Surprisingly, the ginger giant soon returned, stalking the dish with caution at first, as though it was uncertain whether it was permitted to eat. After scanning the area and sniffing the air, it eventually settled down and devoured the food with a surprising elegance that made Elon smile from a distance. Occasionally, it unleashed those human-like meows again. At one point, he was almost convinced he heard the word more. Letting out a soft laugh and shaking his head, Elon whispered, "I must be overworked." Still, a nagging worry lingered. What if the poor cat was truly a stray? It had polished off the tuna in a flash. Maybe it had been starving for days. In no time at all, a pattern was established between the busy entrepreneur and the ginger cat. Each evening at dusk, the giant would appear, and Elon Musk would provide a fresh supply of food. Elon discovered that he looked forward to these visits, finding a curious solace in the cat's presence. Meanwhile, the cat slowly relaxed around him. Initially, the animal feigned indifference to Elon's existence, but as time passed, it began to remain longer after each meal, staring at him with bright, unblinking green eyes. Elon occasionally even caught himself chatting to it, momentarily taken aback by how ridiculous he must have sounded. So much for not being a cat person, he joked inwardly. For weeks, this mutual routine continued. Elon had started calling the feline Ginger Giant in his mind, a simple but fitting nickname for this outstanding visitor. Then one evening, the cat was absent. It did not appear the following night either, nor the night after that. Before he knew it, several nights had passed with no sign of the giant cat. The bowl of tuna remained untouched, and Elon anxiously roamed the cat's usual spot, searching for any clue. Nothing. Thoughts of all the dangers lurking in the streets, even a seemingly safe area like his, kept him awake at night. He knew the cat's formidable size might have helped it survive, but he was also painfully aware how hard life could be for a stray animal. Nearly one entire week went by before, late one night, a week Plaintive cry outside Elon's door startled him. Opening it, he saw the ginger giant, but not the same robust cat. Its usually vibrant fur was tangled and dirty, its tail drooped low, and one leg was awkwardly raised off the ground. A pitiful meow emerged from its throat, sounding worn and broken, and its green eyes looked clouded with fatigue. If not for its towering stature and that uncanny meow, Elon would have thought it was a completely different cat. Staring at the exhausted creature, Elon was saddened to realize it had come to him for help. A wave of guilt washed over him. He felt responsible for not having searched more diligently. Speaking softly, he said, "Oh no," and gingerly collected the massive cat in a towel. The worn-out creature, too weak to fight, simply let him scoop it up, peering at him with the most heartbreaking expression. Wasting no time, Elon Musk raced to the closest animal shelter, a small but committed facility on the outskirts of town, sincerely hoping they could provide a skilled veterinarian to tend to the cat's injuries. It was now obvious this large feline was astray, and it needed all the aid it could get. Overburdened though they were, the shelter's staff members immediately examined the ginger giant, taking special note of its strange vocalizations. "He's definitely unusual," the chief technician observed. "His leg will likely require surgery, and it appears he's been living rough for quite some time." She discussed possible problems, everything from minor troubles like fleas to more concerning health conditions like feline immune deficiency virus. The cat needed an extensive checkup, plus a number of tests, to fully determine its medical status. Elon inquired whether the shelter could treat the cat, then arrange for adoption, but all the staff could promise was to do everything in their power. The cat's sheer size and any ongoing medical challenges might deter most prospective adopters who typically want smaller, younger cats with no major health concerns. Feeling troubled, Elon departed the shelter. Still, he resolved to shoulder all fees for the surgery, tests, and care, determined to give Ginger Giant the best hope of recovery. Days later came an uplifting bulletin. The giant ginger cat's surgery had gone well. He had won over the staff with his near-talking meows, and every other issue was manageable with basic treatment. Elon felt relieved. Surely, he thought, once the cat was fully recuperated, somebody out there would embrace him into a permanent home. Yet as the days turned into weeks, no further news reached Elon. The shelter had promised to update him if anyone adopted the cat, but no word came. Try as he might to throw himself back into his professional commitments, Elon couldn't shake the memory of that forlorn meow, replaying in his mind. Why, he wondered, had no one opted to adopt this remarkable feline? Finally, he could stand the uncertainty no more and decided to visit the shelter himself. Without delay, the staff ushered him to a peaceful area where the ginger giant lounged in a roomy enclosure, his leg bandaged and his coat cleaner, but still exhibiting a faint melancholy. Despite the improved appearance, he seemed to yearn for a place to call home and a person to love. Elon stood watching from a short distance, reminded of his early belief that he simply wasn't a cat person. Yet this affectionate, soft-spoken giant had slipped into his thoughts and never left. The shelter employees admitted that visitors hoping to adopt a feline companion all passed by Ginger Giant, selecting smaller, cuter cats instead. The knowledge stung Elon's heart. Moving toward the cat's enclosure, he saw the giant ginger cat immediately perk up at the sight of him. Limping slightly, the cat rose and pressed itself against the cage bars. Right then, it emitted a low, resonant sound that clearly and shockingly formed a single word. "Hello." For a moment, Elon was paralyzed, his breath catching in his throat. The clarity of that human-like word made him tremble. No staff member was standing close enough to be playing a prank on him. Only the same young woman who had explained that no one was choosing the giant cat. He looked around in utter amazement, then locked eyes with the feline. Just as quickly, the cat swiveled back to rub itself against the cage, purring loudly as though nothing strange had happened. Laughing softly, the staff member said, "I think he's thrilled to see you." Elon managed to shake off his stunned state, knowing precisely what he must do. "I'll take him," he stated in a low, steady voice. The woman's eyes went wide, then she flashed a relieved smile. Feel free to hang out with him while I prepare the paperwork, she said. Moments later, she placed the giant, talking cat in Elon's arms. A warm grin spread across Elon's face as the cat nestled against him and purred mightily. At that moment, he realized he had made the right decision. Although he had never pictured himself as a cat owner, there was something undeniably noteworthy about this feline, something he couldn't simply forget. Thanks to Elon's resources, the adoption process was quick. The shelter staff seemed genuinely glad that this remarkable creature, who had faced multiple rejections, would finally experience a loving home. Once home, Elon decided on Apollo as the cat's official name. Calling him Ginger Giant aloud no longer felt suitable. Despite Apollo's considerable size, he was gentle and sweet-natured, trailing behind Elon from room to room, lounging beside him while he worked or sprawled in sun-warmed corners. Every so often, the cat would let out those strange, almost human calls. Elon no longer questioned this phenomenon. He opted to accept this uncanny part of Apollo's personality with an open mind. Sure, he occasionally doubted whether he was qualified to own a cat. But when he watched Apollo contentedly curled up on a plush bed newly purchased for him, purring away without a care, any lingering doubts dissolved. As months rolled by, Apollo grew into a cherished fixture in Elon's life. Neighbors occasionally spotted him perched by windows, baffled by his remarkable size. The real astonishment, however, came whenever people heard the cat speaking for the first time. Their reactions were priceless. Elon never revealed the exact event that had happened at the shelter. Although many acquaintances believed Apollo's meows resembled speech, Elon kept the cat's real greeting, hello, a private secret between them. No matter how hectic his schedule became, Elon always made time for Apollo, conscious that the cat's former life had likely been difficult. Apollo deserved tenderness, affection, and a sense of security. Spending time with him, gently tossing toys, allowing him to curl up on the sofa, or simply savoring a shared moment, granted Elon a calm unlike anything he had known before. Late one evening, as Elon relaxed on his patio, Apollo leapt up onto his lap with enough heft to make Elon grunt. Gazing at him with those bright green eyes, Apollo produced a deep, rumbling sound. It almost seemed to say thanks. Elon snorted in wry amusement, momentarily questioning his own ears. But rather than analyze the phenomenon, he chose to revel in their odd yet comforting bond. He kept Apollo in a warm embrace, grateful to have turned into a cat person for this unbelievably exceptional friend. Now it's over to you. What do you think of this story? Have you ever heard of other animals that appeared to talk like humans? We'd love to hear your own stories or any thoughts you have, so feel free to drop a comment below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.